In this video, we're going to put together our user create component, the field component, and the button component as well. So 3 components in total. These should be pretty quick to put together. Let's get to it. I'm going to flip back over to my code editor, and inside my components directory, I'm going to make a new file inside the components folder of user create.js. I will make a new file of field.js, and finally button.js as well. So 3 files in total. I'm then going to make sure I have user create open. And inside this thing, we'll put together some quick React component. We're going to make this a functional component. So I will import React from React at the top. I will import field from the field file. And I will import button from the button file. I'll then make a functional component called user create. And inside of this thing, I'm going to return a div that shows field and button, like so. And then finally at the bottom of the file, I will export default user create. Okay, so that's file number 1. So I'm going to save this and close it out. And then I will open up my field component next. So the field component is going to be pretty straightforward, but it's going to be a class-based component. At the top, I will import React from React. I will then make my class field that's going to extend react.component. I'll define my render method, and for right now, I'm going to have it return a div with the class name of UI field. Inside there, I'll have a label. And for right now, I'll give it the text about name. We'll just hard code that in for right now. And then I'll have a text input. And then finally at the bottom, I will export default field. Okay, that's it for the field component. And now onto the last one, our button component. So here's the button.js file. At the top, I will import React from React. I will define class button that extends react.component. Here's my render method, and I'll have it return a div. Excuse me, not a div in this case. We want a simple button here with a class name of UI primary. And I'm going to hard code in submit for right now as well. Then finally at the bottom, we will do our export default button. All right, I think the last thing we have to do is make sure that we import our user create component into our app and show it on the screen. So inside of app.js, I'm going to import user create from user create. And then I will show that inside of my render method in place of the this.state.language printout at the bottom. So there's my user create, like so. All right, let's save all these different files that we've now created and changed. I'll flip back over to my application, and I should see my form appear like so. Now, the styling doesn't look too great here. I think that we probably missed one little class name. Inside of usercreate.js, I have a div right here. On that div, I'm going to add on a class name of UI form, like so. And now if I flip back over, yeah, that looks a little bit better. Last thing is the button itself. Let's make sure we open up the button.js file. We got a class name of UI primary on there. My apologies for that. I was going by memory. It should be UI button primary inside of the button component. So now if I save that as well, there we go, much better. Okay, so we've now got the entire kind of markup side of the application put together, but of course we don't have any actual functionality around the language selector at the top. So let's take a quick pause right here. When we come back in the next section, we'll talk about how we're going to wire up all this context stuff.